We are what? We are who? We are what? Vibrant. We are who? 50 plus. Hi, welcome to Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are coming to you from Oyende Enterprises, being sponsored by Jamila Sense, which is our product line of aromatherapy products that helps heal the mind, body, and soul. And we are bringing to you Alamaj's rebirthing program, as well as Jamila Sense and a host of wonderful programs that will help heal your body, heal your soul, and heal your mind. 50 plus people, we are here to stay. Gray Lives on the Rise. We are what? We are who? We are vibrant, and we are here to stay. Join us for our wonderful episodes. Thank you, and continue to look for our episodes weekly, being brought to you again from Oyende Enterprises and Jamila Sense. See you soon. Greetings, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are here today to have another wonderful episode with our lovely guest, Dr. Chanda Pilgrim.
Hello, everybody.
So we're bringing her in a few minutes, and after we just do our promotional piece, I am Professor Jamila Franklin, and I came up with Gray Lives on the Rise about 2 years ago. And it came to me as I was walking, and I had this download from Spirit. And it basically said, there's nothing out there that addresses the needs of people in your demographic, in your age demographic, 50 plus. And I thought about it, and I said, wow, that's true. The thing was that the only thing I could think of, the only two things were Medicare and AARP. I'm vegan, so Medicare didn't really appeal to me. It doesn't mean because I'm vegan that it doesn't appeal to me. It's just that I haven't had any health issues to speak of, and I'm thankful for that. So, but it's a wonderful organization for those who need it. And then AARP, people think of people who are sedentary and have retired from life. I'm not one of those people. So that didn't appeal to me. And I thought about it. And then the download said, you need to come up with a name. You need to come up with a store. You need to come up with a way in which people can reinvent themselves in a podcast. So I thought about it and I said, Great Lives Matter. I said, nah, that's overused. And then I came up with Great Lives on the Rise. I said, yeah, I like that. Lives rhymes with rise. We're on the up, not going down. And also, it doesn't matter if you have hair, no hair, bald. It has nothing to do with the color. It's a consciousness for people who are 50 plus, because a lot of times people have dismissed us. You can be 49 and you're irrelevant. Time you turn 50 the next day, you become irrelevant. And the interesting thing is that most of the people who do this are people who work for bosses who are 50 plus. Okay, go figure. Their bosses are in their 50s, but they're denigrating against people who are employees or who are applicants. So the next thing was, I said, okay, have the name. Let's reinvent ourselves. We are seasoned, we are mature, we are vibrant, we are full of life. So that's a really different energy than, oh my God, the elderly, the decrepit. No, we're not. Not. And the other thing that came to me was a story. You need to have something that people can relate to. So I have Great Lives on the Rise t-shirts, and Dr. Chanda Pilgrim ordered her mug, which is coming very soon. We have cosmetic bags, we have doormats, we have, you name it. We have it in our store. So we invite you to go to our store to look for our products. The last thing was our podcast. So in talking to people globally, everybody's having the same issue. I've had guests on from Serbia, which is in Eastern Europe. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the Netherlands, the UK, South Africa, the Philippines, Haiti, Costa Rica, and of course, America. So, and everyone was saying the same thing. Jamila, yeah, when you turn 50, people tend to dismiss you. So I said, well, let's have a podcast that addresses our needs. We don't have the same issues and concerns as people who are in their 20s, 30s, and even 40s. Most of us have empty nesters, and our children have hopefully gone out of the house. They've moved out, and some people have grandchildren who are living with them that they're trying to get rid of. But for the most part, people have paid down on their mortgages. They have bought their cars outright. They're traveling. So we wanted to talk about issues that dealt with us as opposed to issues that dealt with people who are like younger, because we don't have the same issues or concerns. So that's how Great Lives on the Rise came about. And the company that's sponsoring it, that's paying for it, is one of my companies, Jamila's Scents. And the product tonight that I'm showing people is Peace Be Still, which is my aromatherapy blend. And I make all of my products myself. I am a certified aromatherapist, a college professor, a Reiki master, an energy medicine practitioner, an energy coach, transformational person, and one of my modalities is healing ancestral trauma. I've had my clinical practice for over 30 years, so I do a lot. And Great Lives on the Rise is the latest baby, but with this, you just take it and put a few drops in your hands. It's transparent, and then you rub your hands together, and you breathe in, and it's a 3 breaths, and you're off in Zen land, utopia, and you can put the rest on your arms, and flies and mosquitoes won't come near you. Right? That's wonderful, right? Okay, so now I've given you that information, and to get in touch with me, you can go to our website, oyendeenterprises.com, and that's spelled Oyin like in Nancy, D like in dog, E like an elephant, enterprises, enterprises.com, oyendeenterprises.com. So now I've taken care of my sponsor who's paying for this. My God, is paying for this. We can get right into it. So we we know that you're going to be in touch with us. And if you would like to be a guest speaker, feel free to send me an inquiry. So this evening, we have the wonderful Dr. Chanda Pilgrim. Now, Dr. Pilgrim has been working in the field of psychology for over 30 years. I know she looks so young. Her career started as a guidance counselor, where she brought her message of love and acceptance to students who were acting out their untold pains. As a licensed psychologist, she has created an interviewing process that both empowers the client while building a rapport that allows the client to start healing right during the evaluation process. Working with refugees has taught her that touching someone's heart can make a difference by reducing a little bit of their trauma. By working with both men and boys in the Department of Corrections, she was able to see the evidence of her belief that love and healthy family relationships and community support are critical to breaking the school to prison pipeline. And that is really serious. There is a school to prison pipeline, and it starts in grade 3, in the 3rd grade. After 21 years in the field, she expanded her healing touch to people that may never see when she published her first 2 books, Leaving Lack and Limitation, Revealing Balanced Abundance, Volume 1, The Power of Words and Blessings from the Lessons. She has inked over 75 poetic prayers and poems, and all of her writings were created to motivate others to endure the challenges they are facing in life. Dr. Pilgrim also gives lectures and workshops about depression, trauma, and self-love, and how these issues affect one's family, work, and relationships. It is her desire to teach the hearts of her audience and motivate them to try a new way of looking at an old problem. She moves her audiences through heartfelt examples from her life and ties in her 30 plus years of experience as a psychologist. In 2022, she became an ordained minister, where she learned there is that love balances fear and changing the way we look at things. It allows us to move in love, healing, instead of fear, which is violence. Her ministry is founded on the principle of healing hearts and teaching people how to live fear-free. In 2024, Dr. Pilgrim, in conjunction with Hillside International Truth Center, opened the Hillside Hope and Healing Center, where she is currently the clinical director. We now welcome Dr. Pilgrim. Greetings, Dr. Pilgrim. How are you?
Greetings. I'm wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well, thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Pilgrim and I know each other from when I was teaching at Hillside. What about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago?
No, I've known you a lot longer than that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I first met you at when you used to have those Christmas parties at your house.
Oh, yeah.
I came to one of those things when I was pregnant with my son who is now 19, so it was 20 years ago. I've known you for
Oh
20
my.
years.
Oh my, I remember those parties vividly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to have parties and vending events for people who were selling their products, and they would come and purchase a spot, and it was a phenomenal success. I think I had that for about 3 to 4 years, 4 to 5 years, and people were asking about those even a couple of years ago. I said, no, I've moved beyond that. But yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness, time passes. So I am impressed with the fact that you are now the clinical director of this center over at Hillside. That is so wonderful and amazing. And I know that you also are focused on finding love after 50. And a lot
Abs-
of the women in the audience would be very interested in this topic because people have told women, particularly men, that if you don't have a mate by the age of 40, you can forget about it. That isn't true because everything is energy. You can attract your soulmate, energetically. So, why did you decide to really hone in on this particular topic in terms of finding love after 50? It's
You
much
know,
needed. It's much needed.
absolutely. I think that when people think about getting into relationships after 50, I don't know that we necessarily realize that it is a lot more complex than we think. When we're 20 years old, we know very little about the world. We know very little about ourselves.
Mm,
And we are forming our personalities, right? So when you get into a relationship in your 20s, you know, you can build and grow with each other and define the relationships and it's all nice, new and fresh. But after you've been living for 50, 60, how many every years, you've already developed who you are. You're pretty set in your ways. You have habits, you've had heartbreaks, you've had, all sorts of things that create a different way of looking at life. And those things could be considered obstacles, right?
mm,
A lot of times we think, there's no good men left, there's no good women left.
mm,
You know, these things are not necessarily true.
mhm.
But when you don't see things, it seems like it's not true. Like if I don't see any good men around me, why am I going to believe that there is such a thing as good available men,
Exactly.
right? But the thing about it is that they really are there and they're looking too. I'm not quite sure what we're doing that's not allowing people to meet each other properly.
Mhm.
But, there's definitely men and women who are interested in having relationships with each other. One part about it that I'd like to talk about is the idea of a person who's never been married hooking
Okay.
up with somebody who's been married.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody's been married for 25 years and something like that, and they're divorced or their husband passed away. Now, those are two completely separate issues, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and we can talk about both of them. But the point being, first of all, is the idea that when somebody's been married before, they already have created the schema of what marriage is supposed to be like. Their
Mhm.
expectations are really set because I know what works. I've done this. I know what works, right? Versus this other person whose ideas of marriage may be theoretical, may be
Mhm.
romanticized, maybe, you know,
Mhm.
fearful,
Mhm.
right? If I've never been married, I've never been legally married. Um, And I don't know that I necessarily completely know what that means. What is the difference between living with somebody and being married to somebody? These are things that you have to learn and experience.
Mhm.
And for a person who's doing it for the first time, it's a completely different experience than somebody you know, who's done it well,
Mhm.
especially who's done it well.
Mhm.
And even somebody who hasn't done it well. When somebody's been married a couple of times, if they are truly interested in growing, and have done some work and realizing the mistakes that they've made, you know, that person would be a really good partner once they've done that work.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think what happens is that people need to do some soul searching. And what happens, Dr. Chanda Pilgrim, is that people tend to look for their better half as opposed to their better, the person who is their better whole. They're looking
Hmm.
for someone to complete them.
Yeah.
So at this stage in people's lives, they're looking for someone to be with them through the sunset years and someone that they can spend the rest of their lives with and maybe be there for them during their transition or during that person's transition. And it is really important for people to do their work because I know of people who have had several spouses, and at least they believe in marriage, but they keep marrying. And we need to step back and be introspective to ask, what are we looking for in a mate?
Hmm.
Are we looking for this person to complete us? Because if you are, that's the wrong reason to marry. Or are you looking for someone to complement, to add to your life because you've done your work and you're a full cup and you're not a half cup? A lot of people are half cups and having their partner fill them up, and that doesn't work. It feels good for a short period of time for men who are getting women who are really dependent on them. But after a period of time, men grow weary of that. And it looks good for women who have attracted older men who are looking for a substitute mother or a substitute replacement for their wives, the lead wives or divorced wives. That works for a period of time because in all those cases, people have not filled up their cup emotionally and they're looking to someone else to fill it up.
Right.
It's combustion. It's combustion. So I saw something about a year ago with this minister who's a very famous minister. I'm not going to call his name. And it was really sad. He had been with this woman. He was in his 70s, I think. He had been with this woman for 20 years and she was in her 50s now. So he had her on hold for 20 years as he decided to uh, take the plunge, so to speak. Now he's 70, so he even said this. He said, I know that she's going to be with me if I'm in my wheelchair to roll me around. He's lived his best years and he's taken up a portion of her life. And he knows that he is going to encounter some health challenges and she would be his nursemaid. So people have to really look at why they are entering these relationships and be honest and truthful with themselves. Are they looking to caretake someone, or are they looking for someone who's whole and who can match their energy? Because people are going into relationships regardless of the age for the wrong reasons, and they get
right?
sorely disappointed.
I think that what piggybacks on with that really well is, are you getting married out of fear,
I like that.
right? Is it that I don't want to be alone? I don't want to get older and be by myself. I don't, like you said, I don't, who's going to take care of me? If I'm older and I'm by myself, then I'm going to be all by myself and I won't have I'll be bored and I'm not going to be working anymore. I'm going to be bored and I'm going to, you know, all of those are fear thoughts.
Hmm.
And when you try to get married from a place of fear, you are starting from a place of where your nervous system is completely dysregulated, and that doesn't bring peace, it doesn't bring joy, it doesn't bring happiness, and those are the things, the building blocks that you want in a marriage, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's
So,
a good importance. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. It's I think that one of the most important things is communication. You know, when I personally, and I would say this for anybody, if you're looking to be in a relationship with somebody, you want to see somebody who has or is willing to do their work,
Yes,
right?
definitely, definitely.
Somebody who is emotionally intelligent.
Hmm.
So that means I realized that this moment that you just said something and you made me angry. You just said something and it triggered this thing that my mother did or my wife did or my, whoever else did in the past, and
Hmm.
or my husband or whatever the case may be, this triggered this other thing in me. I need to pause for a minute.
Hmm.
Give me a minute, give me 5 minutes, give me a day. I need to sit and think about what just happened because I just realized something happened in me.
That's an
And
excellent
then
point.
and
Yeah,
then come back and say, okay, now let's talk about it. A lot of times people don't pause.
that's true.
They feel triggered by something and then they want to talk about it in the moment before you've processed your own stuff. You've got to process your own stuff before you bring it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. That's a good.
Because otherwise, you're just doing a whole lot of talking and hurting the other person who's going to do a whole bunch of talking that that doesn't ever bring solutions. It doesn't, that's not how you get to compromise.
Yeah.
Communication leads to compromise. That's what we want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have 5 C's for a successful marriage. I always talk about communication, compromise. And compromise doesn't mean I get my way and you get your way.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm listening to you in communication. I'm listening to you enough that I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I'm trying to understand your
Mm-hmm.
point of view. Once
Mm-hmm.
I understand your point of view and you understand my point of view, then we're at a space where we can try to create something, right, that is uniquely ours,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what marriage, to me, especially marriage after 50, is. It's about creating something that is never been created before. It's not like your past marriage. It's not like your mother's marriage. It's not like your best friend's marriage. This is uniquely ours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that requires a whole lot of communication. More communication at this age than it does when you're younger,
Hmm.
right? Because we got 50 years of life.
Yeah.
60, 70, 80 years of life. We've got life.
Yeah.
And I'm pausing because I want to share something that there's certain things that I think foundationally that you and your readers don't necessarily know about me. I don't believe that there is one such thing as reality.
Hmm.
Okay. I believe reality is our perception. Our perception is based on our experiences,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
And so therefore, when my reality creates the stories that I tell about myself about anything that happens,
Hmm.
you know, if you responded to me and you wiped your nose like you just did or whatever, touched your nose like you just did, but I know that somebody did that every time that they were upset about something. That's my experience. Oh, so what are you upset with me for? I'm not upset. My nose itched. No, it's not. I know that because my story tells me that this is what happens when people do things. We all
Yeah,
have stories.
yeah,
We have to sit back and recognize where is the story coming from and is it true?
yeah.
We have to learn to vet our stories. You know, when you just touched your nose just right now, this is what it meant to me.
Hmm.
What do is that true? Is there any part about that that's true? What's true, what's not true?
Hmm.
When you do this, then everybody can be on the same page.
Hmm.
And we're on the same page, then again, we can start building. When we're not, we're tearing each other down, Who the heck wants to be married to somebody at 50, 60 years old and be still yelling and screaming and arguing and not understanding and fighting all the time? That's not what we want.
Yeah, yeah,
Not at this point in
true.
time. Our nervous systems are tired of
Yeah,
all of that kind of drama. It's time for peace.
yeah.
We need peace, but the only way to get to peace is by listening and recognizing that just because you believe something to be true doesn't mean that your partner also believes that it's true.
That's a key point. That's a key point.
And that your truth and their truth, even if it's different, doesn't have to be right and wrong.
Right.
Your partner is not right and you're not wrong. You're not right and they're not wrong. It's just different. And if we can agree to be different, then we can be happy a whole lot longer.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's so challenging because people think compatibility means that someone's going to agree with them most of the time and not challenge them. And when they see those kinds of things come up in terms of the challenges, then they think that they're not compatible with the person. And in fact, it could be the universe that's bringing this up so you can heal whatever's within you, because the person's just mirroring back what is within you. So you can
Right.
heal what's within you and keep it moving. But people always project their insecurities on someone else. And you're right, their truth may not be your truth, and your truth may not be their truth, but with communication, you can resolve it.
And you said a word that I think is so super important in relationship. It when you're getting into a relationship with somebody. And even when you're already in a relationship, it's the idea of insecurity. We all have some kind of insecurities,
We do, yeah,
but we have to be aware of what they are
yeah.
and we have to be checking it because
Hmm.
if we don't, insecurity is the one thing that will tank a relationship faster than anything.
That's true. Through people's projections onto someone else. That's very true.
You know, because we really, again, it's our reality. We believe that we are good at something because of how people respond to us. We believe that we're bad at something because how people respond to us. We believe that we are capable or incapable of something because of our experiences.
Hmm.
And then we have expectations of other people based on our experiences.
Nope, that's true.
And the person that you may be in a relationship with has completely different relationships and have different experiences, and they may not, if you, most women out here will say that it's true that men cheat.
Yeah, that's true.
Most women will agree with that,
Yeah.
right? But there are definitely men out here who absolutely are appalled at the idea of stepping out in their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you hook up with a man who feels that way and you believe that he doesn't, when he's on the phone talking to his friend that he's been female friend that he's been friends with for 30 years, oh, I know that they got something and I know that and I know because you've got this belief that this has to be true, that people do this, when you actually have somebody who is loyal and doesn't believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And by not understanding that, you start accusing,
Yeah.
you know, you accuse somebody, this is completely not who they are, so they're going to be on the offense, and then you've got problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And what people do is which you're saying some very clearly, Dr. Pilgrim, is that people project their
Hmm.
insecurities onto someone. Just like if a woman who has been quote unquote cheating on her significant other, she would every time the man goes out, she would think that he's cheating on her. The same thing
That
with
too.
men
Hmm.
who want to go through their girlfriends or wives' phones because they want to see if they had been cheating. You can only go to that space if you've done it yourself or if you've seen it. Otherwise, they wouldn't come to you to be suspicious like that.
Right. But again, it's also if you've seen it, right? If you've had a partner in the past who's cheated, if you've had a parent in the past who've cheated, if you've had friends in the past who are in the habit of cheating, you're also going to be you might be vigilant in looking for the signs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you're looking for something, you're going to see things that may seem like it, even if it's not really it.
Mm-hmm. You're attracting that. That's the law of attraction. Your fear is attracting the very thing that you say that you do not desire. It's pulling
Hmm.
it to you because that's your focus. And I've heard that say all men are cheaters, men are not monogamous. And I know of some
That's right.
who are monogamous and who don't cheat on their wives and have no uh, inclination to do so. So our words create our reality. So if you believe that there are no good men, the universe has to configure itself to bring you all these guys that are not worthy of your time and attention.
Hmm.
So I think when we start laying the groundwork and starts claiming what we desire, then things will start to change drastically. Yeah, they will start to change.
And it's what you would put around yourself. So last two about 2 years ago, I was in a relationship, wasn't going anywhere, and I decided that this relationship was bringing lack into my world because it wasn't going anywhere.
Hmm.
So I decided to leave that, and I said, okay, well, what am I going to do? I got a picture that I put at my bedside table of a man hugging, like kissing a woman right on her neck,
Oh,
you know?
wow.
And I put it right at the foot of my bed.
Mm.
So every night as I went to sleep, I saw this picture and I just imagined me being the woman in the picture with this man behind me holding me. I think it was about 2 months later, and this man started talking to me,
Mm.
you know, and we are happily in a relationship. Now, you know, and Yeah. But it's because I had to get full of that thing. I had to be able to put it out there that this is what I wanted. I wanted to feel a certain way
Mm-hmm.
that was not what I was in the habit of feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I had to do a whole lot of work of letting go of what I was used to
Mm-hmm.
because our nervous systems are in the habit of the things that we're used to. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're used to a man who's cheating on you, it's really hard for you not to believe that it's not going to happen. It's hard for you to believe that when somebody all of a sudden comes home and takes a shower, that it's not because they're not trying to wash something off of them. It's because that they're hot and sweaty or because they don't want to have bring the outside inside. People do things for a lot of different reasons, but if you only have one story in your mind and you can't believe anything else but that one story, you're going to be upset.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to be creating problems for yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to do the work. You've got to get counseling,
Yes.
do
Yes.
journaling, get some
Yes.
Reiki, clean the
Yeah.
energy, all of that.
Yes. Because what you're talking about now is just basically deprogramming our minds because people have grown up with this incessant programming. It's all around you. And people have normalized not being in monogamous relationships. As a matter of fact, the new thing is polyamorous relationships with young people. They have
Not
multiple
just young
partners.
people,
Oh, really?
not just young people.
Oh, okay. I'm learning something new here. Okay.
It's very much with the young people, but it's not only with the young people. You know, some people are okay with the idea of being in multiple relationships at the same time.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, it's
no
interesting.
judgment.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm looking at it to see, this is judgment, but I'm about to say if it's a fear of commitment as opposed to saying, okay, if I'm in these multiple s- situationships, as they call them, then I don't really have to be concerned about my heart being broken because I'm not, I am choosing to not allow myself to be vulnerable. I have all of these situations.
But that's not necessarily true either because as a counselor, I've seen people in polyamorous relationships with their hearts broken still. It's not that they're not investing emotionally in the relationship. I mean, some people may not, but some people are literally emotionally invested here and they're emotionally invested here. They're getting certain things out of this, they're getting certain things out of this. They just don't feel that they can get everything they need out of one person. So they're having multiple people to be able to fill the different parts of them that they need fulfilled.
Mm,
And then if something happens to this one piece, then this thing is missing, and now they're hurt and heartbroken and devastated and whatnot and so forth because they're missing this relationship, this thing that the relationship was giving.
mhm,
You know,
mm.
it's interesting.
That's
I'm
interesting.
not me, but it's interesting how it works.
Hmm. It is interesting, especially for people who are over 50 who are desiring to be in relationships and the pool is becoming more diminished because women live longer than men.
Hmm.
So you have that reality, and women tend to be healthier as we age than men.
Hmm.
So it may seem that um, women have limited choices, so they opt for things that they normally would not opt for if the situation were more ideal. So I'm just wondering if that's one of the ways in which people feel um, feeling the gap, the age gap, and the fact that the supply becomes more limited the older we get. So they said, okay, let me consider this kind of relationship because at least I would be with someone as opposed to being out there on my own and isolated. This is something I just thought about.
But is it true that there's less availability as we get older? Because people are dying, and we have widows and widowers who may be looking to get married again. I heard somebody that told me that her spouse died and she was friends with this guy and his spouse died and then the two of them hooked up. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we do.
they were very seasoned people, you know. There's I guess what happens as you know, when you're talking about especially people that are in their 70s and 80s and that kind of stuff and finding love, it's not being around the people. We don't where you have to be around people to get into relationship with people,
Yeah,
right? I think that's part of the problem is that we're not going to the bars and we're not going to the clubs and we're not going here and we're not going there, and so we're not seeing people to get in relationships with.
hmm,
You know, it's not that they're not available, it's just that they're not, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the word for it is. They're not in front of us.
hmm. Hmm. That's that's a very interesting perspective because the data tend to point to the fact that the supply is becoming more diminished as you
Hmm.
age for various reasons. But I think again the law of attraction comes into play because wherever you are and you put the energy out into the universe, you could be going to take out trash and a person can just be happening to come around the corner and your eyes lock and the
Right,
rest becomes history. So when you become available emotionally, and I think this is something that you had mentioned, then all possibilities can then manifest because you've become emotionally available as opposed to shutting down because your heart has been broken, male or female.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
male or female. So um what advice would you give people? First of all, let's get your contact information. So if people would like to talk with you or have you do workshops or whatever, they can get in touch with you.
They can email me at Dr. Pilgrim at uptherapy.org. That's uptherapy.org.
Okay, can you spell the whole thing out for people? So,
Dr. Pilgrim, DrPilgrim at uptherapy, uptherapy.org. Um, I'm not giving out a phone number.
oh no, no one gives out a phone number. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not really on social media like much, so you can email me. I am, if you Google me, you would still find some phone numbers because it's there. I'm actually, at this moment in time, my I am booked. I am not taking any new clients, but taking, I am doing available to do workshops and things like that. On the first Sunday of every month at Hillside International Truth Center, I do a workshop on various subjects, and it's free to anybody who wants to come, and that is at 2450 Cascade Road in Atlanta on the first Sunday of every month. So if people are interested in random kind of conversations, we've spoken about uh, relationships, we've talked about communication, we've talked about grief, about ADHD and adults and
Mm.
all sorts of things we've talked about. And so that's also available to people if they want to come out.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. So Dr. Pilgrim is available for workshops and for seminars. And then you can go, if you're in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area, go to Hillside Interdenominational Church,
I-
and it's in
International
International
Truth
Church,
Center.
Truth Center. Okay. And it's in Southwest Atlanta. And you're free to
For
go by.
free.
Yeah. To go by to be part of the wonderful conversations that take place there, and bring a friend. I think it's really important what Dr. Pilgrim said in terms of having people be in places where they can meet others, because you can't meet people if you're not in certain kinds of settings and situations. So this is a very good place to go, where you will find like-minded people with whom to connect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you like to leave our listening audience? What pearls of wisdom?
Pay attention to the things that are triggering you,
Hmm.
right? Those are the things that you need to work on. Journal. Get to know yourself. Get to love yourself, because the more love you have for yourself, the more that you have to give to somebody else,
Very true.
you know? And listen, really listen. Listening, seeking to understand where the other person is coming from.
Hmm.
And there's hope out there. Don't give up hope. Yeah,
Hmm.
those are my
So men
thoughts.
and women over 50 who are seeking your true love or just simply companionship, it is definitely possible. And some of the things that Dr. Pilgrim has shared with us, I think, are very important. All of the things, rather. And doing your own work is critical, because some people try to skirt behind these excuses. Well, like you mentioned before, there are no good men out there, or all women are gold diggers, or there's no one in my age group with whom I can be compatible. All those things are excuses. So, and they have a history because of past relationships that may have been traumatic. That's the reason for some of these statements. So when you start doing your work in terms of going to counseling, group therapy, group meetings, you can get to the heart of the issue. You start working through some of those prior pains and traumas, which would be very, very, very important. You have to do that in order to go on to the next level. You have to work through your trauma and through,
Don't bring your past pains into your future pleasure.
I like that.
Hmm.
Repeat that. I like that. I like that.
Don't bring your past pains into your future pleasure, because it won't you it's going to you're not going to be able to have the pleasure that you want if you bring the past pains into it,
Yeah. And
you
some
know.
people have trunks that they're bringing into relationships.
Some
Trunks of
people
past hurt.
cannot imagine. I have there specifically men that have the belief that the things that they've been through in life have been so bad that it's beyond help.
Hmm.
That's not true. It's really not true. I have heard men say, oh, my baggage is so bad that if I went to a therapist, she'd want to kill herself. That is not true. We're professionals. We can handle all sorts of trauma. We know how to handle that stuff. Please get some help. You know, I've been living with it all these years. What difference does it make now? It's not affecting me. It has created your entire way that you're looking at everything in your life. And if you
Mhm.
want some more peace and joy in your life, you need to let go of the things that you've been holding on to, the pain that you've holding on to. You don't have to go to the grave with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is so very true. So please get in touch with Dr. Pilgrim via email. She gave you her email address. And then also go to Hillside the first Sunday of each month, and you can meet her in person. And you can be part of the lively discussions that are taking place there. And love conquers all. We just have to allow ourselves to tap into the feeling that most of us had when we were babies and children. They're just, most babies are just bundles of joy and love. And that's available to us again, very much
Absolutely.
so. So thank you so much, Dr. Pilgrim. We
You're
appreciate
very
you
welcome.
spending this time with us. And for those of you, like I said, who would like to get in touch with Dr. Pilgrim, she gave you her email address, and then go by Hillside. Drop by Hillside to meet with her in person. So, oh, I saw you on Professor Jamila Franklin's Great Lives on the Rise show. Yeah, yeah. Tell her where you saw her. And for everyone else, don't forget every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Great Lives on the Rise is airing. And even if you miss it on Sundays, that's not a problem because it's taped and you can see it on Spotify audio, Spotify video, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So, and please feel free to go to our website, Great Lives on the Rise, which is under oyendeenterprises.com, OYINDE Enterprises, ENTERPRISES.com, and click on Great Lives on the Rise. That's our latest baby. Right. Thank you so much, beloveds, for joining us. And know that we love you. And Great Lives on the Rise. Go to our store and buy your shirt to show people we are empowered. Okay. All right. Until next time. Have a productive day, night, evening, or whatever time you're looking at this. Click like, subscribe, and so you can never miss an episode of Great Lives on the Rise. It will just come into your email automatically. So thank you, beloveds. Until next time, know that we love you. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Great Lives on the Rise, being brought to you by Jamila Scents, which is the product line of Oyende Enterprises. Jamila Scents is a 100% natural aromatherapy line that heals the mind, body, and soul. This episode of Great Lives on the Rise was intended to uplift you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Please tell all of your friends, family members, and anyone you know who's 50 plus, who's living a vibrant life and interested in doing more and enjoying life even to its fullest. So thank you, and please subscribe, like, and comment on this video and all our videos. Thank you, and until next time, until our next podcast, namaste and be well.